Good evening, I'm Dennis Woltering.
And I'm Lucy Bustamante. Crews began pumping cement into BP's blown-out well today, and the company says that the permanent seal could be complete by tomorrow.
While local leaders celebrate the milestone, some have harsh words for BP and the Coast Guard over the continuing cleanup effort. Scott Satchfield was the only reporter present at a contentious meeting between local officials and the Unified Command today. Here's the story.
In Gretna today, BP and Coast Guard officials met with several parish leaders to discuss how to move forward with oil spill recovery efforts after the blown-out well is permanently sealed. But the positive circumstances became overshadowed by more frustration. Plaquemines Parish President Billy Nungesser left early.
I walked out of the meeting because they're lying. The Coast Guard is lying and BP is lying.
Nungesser says Unified Command officials delivered conflicting details about the standing down of equipment in his parish, and he says too many out-of-state response workers are being brought in while local fishermen are out of work. The Coast Guard, Nungesser alleges, is ready to declare mission accomplished.
Smoke and mirrors. But because a guy wears a blue uniform, what he say we supposed to believe? Bull. We picked up 100 barrels this week. You know, when people say they don't really want the oil picked up, I gotta believe them.
As the meeting wrapped up, a Coast Guard official said he couldn't give us an interview. But local leaders spoke freely about what they describe as a new disconnect with Unified Command.
You know, we were under the impression that when we met a month ago and agreed to specific parts of a plan, that it would be implemented as we agreed to. Now we're learning now that things are possibly changing. It's very frustrating for all of the parishes that are involved here.
No one's letting them off the hook. The parish presidents met today to make sure that that message is clear and consistent from every municipality across the Gulf Coast.
In a week where state officials released new photos of oil contamination in several locations, the message from local leaders is clear. The fight is far from over.
Look, I tried. I stayed off TV for 30 days, and I bit my lip several times. This is not fair. It's not right. And the Coast Guard is wrong. They dead wrong, and so is BP.
A Coast Guard spokesperson acknowledges resources are being demobilized, but says that doesn't mean the recovery effort is finished. The spokesperson says Unified Command remains committed to working with local leaders. But JP Councilman Chris Roberts points out what he believes is a big problem with communication between the two sides. Roberts says from meeting to meeting, local leaders are working with a rotating cast of Unified Command personnel. Dennis and Lucy, he says one person will agree to something, and then someone else will come in behind that person and change that.
Wow. All right, thanks, Scott. Dennis Woltering, the president of Plaquemines Parish and the Secretary of Wildlife and Fisheries, blasted BP and the Coast Guard today, saying large sections of the southeast Louisiana coastline still desperately need a comprehensive oil spill cleanup plan. Their strong words came as they toured one of many areas they say are still polluted by heavy coats of oil. Bill Capo was there.
A flotilla of wildlife and fisheries boats sped into Bay Jimmy at the edge of the Gulf of Mexico in Plaquemines Parish, passing flocks of white pelicans, some still coated in oil.
We've got 4 white ones that's got oil we've been trying to catch for the last couple of days.
Agents say miles of southeast Louisiana shoreline looks like this, large patches of grass dead, everything coated by black oil. But when he saw no cleanup crews present, Plaquemines Parish President Billy Nungesser was infuriated.
This is the biggest cover-up in the history of America. Well, we got a plan. Well, you signed off on it. Yeah, we begging for help.
Look at the consistency of this all oozing out of the marsh here.
State Wildlife and Fisheries Secretary Robert Barham exposed the still liquid oil just below the surface, worrying it will spread.
Any oil that's still here will go into new areas, but
and kill them.
And kill them.
So it's a continuing process until they clean it up?
Until this is cleaned up.
So what is it you want to see?
I want to see some action here.
A Coast Guard spokesman said cleanup crews are still experimenting to find the best marsh cleanup method. But Coast Guard statements that the cleanup is a priority made Nungesser explode.
But no one is walking away. Clearly these are high priorities, but there are different phases in different areas accordingly.
Oh, it's a priority. Look at it. What's it, 8.5 months later? Thank God we're not out here asking for ammo to defend this country. And this is a priority. Their priorities are wrong. They hoping we go away. We get tired.
For Parish President Nungesser to make that statement, and even Secretary Barham, they've been a part there as trustees.
They say they have a plan. Well, is the plan to not be here?
But the concern for the head of Wildlife and Fisheries and the Plaquemines Parish President is making sure that areas like this, with this thick peanut butter style oil still present, are not just ignored.
This marsh is dead. This marsh is going in the sea.
And as the water comes in, we get a little thunderstorm tonight and takes this oil. Those ponds you see far inland will have oil in it.
I'm Bill Capo, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
State officials say they will continue working with BP and federal agencies to come up with what they call a reasonable, effective plan to clean up and restore the coastline.